Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 12th, 2022. Hopefully, this podcast episode finds you well. Hopefully, you're having a good one. As for me, I would say I'm good. I'm doing well. This week was more or less just work related. I would say I am feeling better. Tentatively, yes. In this more or less, I'm calling it winter now. We had our first little snow fall today. So I'm going to say, yeah, it's winter time. Even if it is still fall officially, whatever. I don't care. Even if we get like next week 8-degree temperatures, I don't fucking care. It's winter. um, but let's see. Like I said, more or less just work. Food corner. I did go to Chameleon. To any new listeners, that's a little pizza wing joint. They have like a little. They have a little venue there, but I'm only going there for pizza. They also have some pool and stuff, but whatever. Um, got some pizza. I got a slice of pizza. I got a half pound of hot wings, not the hottest. And then what else did I get? Cajun fries, and then I got like two sauces. I think one was like a lemon garlic aioli, which is very good. Mwah. And then there was another sauce. It was also white, but it wasn't ranch. But it was good. I enjoyed it. All good food. Had a good time hanging out with my peeps. And now we're here. It's a Saturday. We're vibing. We're chilling. Literally. But we go ahead and get into some news. We usually start off, with the Ukraine-Russia stuff. Let's see here. Got this from Reuters. Ukraine troops greeted with flowers in Kherson after Russian retreat. Sorry. So I had alluded to this in another previous episode, but it turns out that, all the bluster that, Russia was kind of putting out in terms to the people of Kherson saying, hey, you guys got to get out of here. It's going to be really bad. There's going to be a lot of violence and, they were moving people, all this and that. But more or less, there was a Russian retreat out of the village. Now, they have moved to the other side, I think, to of the Dnipro River, and essentially, like, there's still artillery battles going on. So that's kind of the good bad of the situation currently. Soldiers are going, throughout the village, demining, checking. There is a fear that there might be some, troops who have, obviously, gotten into civilian clothes and are plain clothed, undercover now that they're worrying about. But, it's seemingly that they were welcomed, with flowers. Villagers were happy to see them. Let's see here. But like I said, there still is artillery going on, from outside of the village now. But I mean, this is a big deal. It's big because this is one of the territories that Russia had claimed that, like, hey, this is now a part of Russia. It's Russian territory. If you guys make any moves on this, there's going to be consequences. There's going to be a price to pay. But, here they are. And according to Russia right now, their way of looking at it is like, oh, we didn't retreat. Like, they're saying that. But, it doesn't look like they're completely done with the area, given the artillery fire stuff. But we'll see what their next moves are. There was some other news, too, about some guy, like, not a right hand of Putin, but someone just in his circle. He was, like, saying, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, we did rig the elections. Yeah, we are rigging elections. We'll do it again. But I don't know. I feel like a guy like this is like so low on the rung. I'm not even gonna like name him. I'm not even gonna really do too much on him because it's just like he's doing conspiratorial like stoking, and I think that really is the most effective thing that they do in terms of like affecting us in the States. It's kind of like entertaining these conversations at the right times. But when you actually look into what they have done, the meddling that they have done is like Facebook pushing on people, So your boomer grandma or whatever, read this bullshit fake news thing on Facebook, and it was probably by some Russian spam bot. Oh, you got us. So yeah, I don't want to spend too long on the Ukraine Russia shit today. Actually, this is kind of an update. I randomly wanted to cover. I wouldn't say like this is huge news or anything like that, but it was a hot pursuit that had taken place, and it was weird because I was doing a Patreon episode, and I usually have something like on background on mute. Actually, that's just my inside baseball. That's what I like to have. I don't know why it's comforting, but it is. And the streamer I was watching, Hasanabi, essentially was doing live coverage on a hot pursuit, chase in LA. I think, yeah, it took place between LA and Orange County. And it ends in Hacienda Heights at a gas station. Hold on, we can get into it. Let me start from the top. I got this from 8newsnow.com. That's at least the site header. National news. Suspect arrested after chase through LA, Orange counties, ends in crash. Shots fired. So, like I said, I was kind of like, oh shit. Like, it was really an intense chase. The several vehicles wind up being involved. Dude, like, breaks into someone's house. So shit's just wild. Let me see. They do have the person. It's Johnny something. Yeah, Johnny Enchando, who is 32 years old. He was booked into LASD Norwalk Station. So he wasn't killed. Because when I initially saw it, I was like, oh man, like, did someone get murdered? But then I had saw that they pulled him out and, was walking him. But it was just it was intense. Also, the amount of cop cars at the end of it were just fucking insane. Like, they took up like half the street. They had like a bird's eye view picture of it, and it was just like a mass. But they like ram into him at the end of it. Oh, excuse me. But I mean, yeah, at one point, like I had said earlier, he broke into someone's house in like a cul-de-sac, and more or less you're thinking, all right, this dude he's done. And he's like, nope. He was able to get the keys to this guy's van, and the guy pulls out a knife, and he's like, look, dude, if you don't leave, I'm gonna stab you. And dude leaves, but he has his van, and the guy then realizes, oh shit, this is happening, and he tries to, stop him. The gate is closed, but the guy rams through the gate with his own van. That had to suck to fucking see. And then goes on this fucking, continues on his fucking, hot pursuit run. Let's see. Yeah, I believe it started, though, in a black Honda Civic. And it was for traffic violations, and the driver refused to yield. But yeah, I know at one point I think he had a pickup as well, and then also a van. Shit is crazy. Or no, let's see. He had the pickup truck rammed into the vehicle gate. Yeah. Okay, so it was a pickup. My bad. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted here? Yeah, no, it was definitely a pickup. Hey, it's good to get it, so I don't have to get it to a corrections corner the next day. So yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't big news or anything like that, but it was just something that I covered technically halfway, and I was like, let me just kind of put a bow on it. We can move on there. The next one I got from CNN Business. FTX investigating a possible $473 million hack. Now, this article is going to drop you right into it. I would definitely say if you're a crypto guy or gal, you're interested in this kind of thing, start with just looking at FTX. Binance is also another big player that gets involved in this conversation. It's not super covered in this article, but kind of give you a little bit of context before we get into like the hacking part. Essentially, FTX has just been crashed. Shit has gotten so bad to the point now that this once giant, cryptocurrency exchange, it was literally so big that they had Larry David, and I believe Tom Brady doing ads for them on the Super Bowl. It was fucking big at that point. I don't know if you remember that. But essentially, it just all went to shit when I guess information came out that how the exchange is set up is it's not stable on its own. And the CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, had tied another business to the exchange to kind of help it out. And people said, whoa, that's really spooky. That's not good. And essentially that setup could mean if one of these things fail or falter, the whole thing falls to shit. And then what are people going to do with their money? So when you have this uneasiness to this, I would say uneasiness is an understatement. When you have this fear that at any given day or moment, you could lose all your money that you have invested in this exchange company, you make a move then and there. So people scramble to pull out all their money, and it's essentially just tanked the whole fucking thing. Like I said, it's gotten so bad that they've had to lock the accounts now. SBF, we're just going to refer to him as that now. He is, before this week, he was a $16 billion billionaire. Let's just say that. Billionaire. $16 billion, dude. Holy shit. Like, I don't know. My broke ass can't even, like, fathom losing that much money in less than a week, dude. Oh, my God. And this dude's energy is real odd. That's why I wanted him on the picture for the thumbnail for sure. He's kind of kooky from what I've heard and seen. He had this like weird rivalry beef with the owner of Binance, and they kind of play a factor. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick on the fly here. Owner of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, who also goes by CZ. A lot of acronyms in this story, but essentially they were kind of like rivals. But Binance was kind of like the investing company for FTX. It had kind of grown within this and like off of like investment money. And then it had gotten big enough to stand on its own. And, but along the way, these guys have kind of had a little bit of rivalry here and there. SBF has said like, hey, it's kind of alluded to like saying like, hey, at least I can do business in Washington. Meaning that like CZ can't come to America because like all the shit going on in China, whatever. There's like a weird diss jab. Also, SBF up until this point was a big player in Washington because he was lobbying to both sides of the aisle, both Republicans and Democrats, generating a lot of money, talking about generating even more. Also, like I said, he's been saving companies like cryptocurrency, crypto coins that were just going bust and broke. He was like, scooping them up and, at least making them as solvent as possible. Excuse me. So, I mean, to have this happen just overnight pretty much is crazy. He had been reaching out for help, SBF, to like save the company, more or less do the thing that he's been doing. And Binance was initially going to step in. They had made a deal and it was tentative. But then, like the next day or by the end of the day, he was just like, no, can't do it. We thought this was just an $8 billion problem, and it's much more than that. And not just money. There's legal shit, too, involved. That there's just like, it's just too much. We can't fix this. So it's now an even bigger race to the bottom as SBF has filed for bankruptcy. Who knows how people are going to get their money. But I've said all that just to get to the part of that there was a hack and potentially upwards of $400 million might have been taken, which is insane on top of all the problems that they have. Because they've locked up their money in the wallet, but the wallet was still available to like see or whatever online. So I imagine someone hacked it and got the money. Now, who knows what the hacker got it for? I mean, I've heard some interesting stories on this. I've heard of people coming up with like weird end rounds to get their money out by like doing NFTs actually. So this company is set up in the Bahamas. So legally it has some murky shit that allows people to kind of like get around certain things. Essentially they had an NFT that was like worth a quote unquote dollar. And then through I think like their wallet or whatever, they were making like big purchases on this NFT and essentially finding a way to like I guess you could say liquid like flow their money. I don't know what the word is here, but essentially move their money through this NFT purchase. So, I mean, that's interesting. I wish I had the link set up here, but I mean, this is definitely something that kind of popped up this week, and I was kind of like, oh, numbers. But then I was like, realized like, oh, this is a crypto thing, and this is like the same crypto thing that I saw the fucking commercial on. I cannot believe that. Like, we didn't even close the goddamn year out. This crypto winter shit is definitely real. I think, I don't know. I dabbled a little bit in like the shit coins or whatever, if you will. Got out of that shit real quick, and I'm glad I did. I don't think anything in that field right now is doing good. In fact, it's doing very bad. So I just wanted to kind of get that up on the airwaves for the podcast. Let's see. Move on to the next thing. We're not necessarily talking crypto anymore, but definitely tech, I guess you could say. And we're not talking about Twitter right now, at least at the moment. Got this from Yahoo News, and then I believe Engadget. Meta is laying off more than 11,000 employees. So this is their first mass like firing, which is actually impressive to me, I would say. Definitely you would think this would have happened sooner rather than now. So I guess like in a way that's definitely a good thing. But I would say the reasons behind it are shit as fuck to me. But yeah, about 13% of their company staff. Let's see. There's definitely a mess. Like Zuckerberg came out with a statement video to all the people. I believe they all got like sent an email on like, you know, them getting let go, and they were like locked out of their what's it called? They were locked out. They had locked access to their, I guess, workstations, if you will. But it's definitely like seeming like a better severance package. I think about like 16 weeks pay or something like that. Yeah. Severance pay worth 16 weeks of their base plus 2 additional weeks for every year of service with no cap. Where's the quote? Damn it. Don't want to make too much dead air here. So, essentially, he tries to explain it as he's owning it, but at the same time, he's saying that it's because things did so well during the pandemic because everyone was inside on their phones. So they were on Facebook more. There was more presence. We were doing better. He's saying that we thought that was going to be a permanent kind of growth, and it just wasn't. And they're saying that because of that reason, they won't, like, they're going to have to make some changes. He has also said before that Meta could become a slightly smaller organization by the end of 2023. He also has reportedly instructed managers to identify people for layoffs and has told employees that realistically, there are probably a bunch of people at the company who shouldn't be here, which is a really shitty thing to say, I feel. Um, Especially, I think it's a lack of true understanding of the load that your company has to carry, in terms of the content moderation, in terms of the actual tech support, maintenance, all that kind of shit. Like, I think people like Mark Zuckerberg go, oh, they take it back to that nostalgic, beginning. And it's not that anymore. You guys are much bigger than you ever were. Um, but yeah, man, I feel like there was definitely a better quote that I had from this article. I was not finding it a little bit. I'm a little bit in the weeds, I guess. But let's see. Twitter does get mentioned in this article because they also have done some layoffs. I think I alluded to this in the Patreon episode. Yet again, get across it if you can. Newsies, whatever. But essentially, Twitter's layoff was way worse. They kind of said, okay, we need to trim fat right here, right now. And they just sent out a bunch of emails. They say that some of them were sent to the wrong people. Some people were supposed to definitely not get those emails. Others, they realized that, hey, we actually do need these people for this, that, and the third. And honestly, I think you can see it a lot in Twitter. Like, if you're on it, like, I think especially like when the initial wave happened, there was just like way more errors, way more problems on the app. Plus, not to mention all the weird changes that are going on every single fucking day, whether or not like, oh, is it a blue check? Oh, is there a gray check under this person's name or not? Like, oh, can you change your name today? Like, or not? Weird features that were always common or just a little bit more staticky, whatever. But granted, I would say the same thing for Facebook. Shit. I'm having some issues with Facebook. I'm actually degenerately online. I'm on too much. But I've noticed that like certain features that I have on my app are not as accessible, which is annoying. But I shouldn't be on the shit as much anyway, so who cares? So yeah, sorry about that. I wanted to get more in here, but I don't know. I'm mentally fogging, I guess. Forgive me. I'm one man, one podcast. But yeah, we can move on to the last bump. I'm gonna cheer myself up on my little break. It's all right, buddy. Oh yeah. Aruga. All right. Whew. Last bit I got from The Guardian. Imprisoned activist lawyer denied access at Egyptian jail during climate summit as it happened. This is a whole timeline of shit. I kind of just I kind of just picked an article out that summed up at least what I wanted to talk about for COP27. Also, something I wanted to add. I mentioned offhand that Rishi Sunak wasn't going to participate. He just said his little reasons why. I want to say within a day or two after, he did say, oh, I am going to show and participate. I also learned, too, that just because necessarily your leader, whatever, prime minister, doesn't show up to the function, it doesn't mean that there isn't anyone there representing your country at these COPs. So that was something I didn't know. A little fun fact there, if you're interested, climate change nerds. But so essentially, this is going on COP27. They're blah blah blahing about, what are we gonna do here? What kind of changes are we gonna make? I know a big conversation that has been going on is more or less who should be considered responsible and like who should be like footing the bill for this kind of shit. And it's kind of been an ongoing conversation at these summits, but it does seem like it gets louder and louder from, countries that are impoverished who are literally doing no kind of emissions, have not been doing any, and essentially are paying the brunt of it. And there are, nations that are well off in this, and they're saying, hey, okay, we want to help you out. We want to get something set up and sorted, but they are very careful with the wordage that they use. They don't want to say that they are responsible. They don't want to like claim it or anything like that. They want it to be worded as like we're helping you out. Um, excuse me. And also, I'm sure that the number is not nearly adequate. Um, but essentially, you need all the big countries to play ball here, whether or not their leaders show up. I know Biden, after midterms, has made a trip to this shit and is talking, doing stuff. Um, so, I mean, that aspect of it is interesting. There's also a lot of talk, too, of there are oil producers and, like, people who are more or less what they're saying. I forget the term they use, but it was like climate criminals or what have you. But essentially, they're people like, well, why are you here? And I think there was a quote from someone, and they said, if you're not sitting at the table, then you're on the menu. And I liked that quote. I thought that was like really sticky. I thought that was really good. And I mean, hey, that's quote unquote the bad guy talking, but you have to understand we are living in a capitalist society. It's not about good and evil to these people. It's not about whether or not people die in terrible droughts and famines and floods. That doesn't matter to them. It's all about making that shmoney, and that's all they care about. And they know that if they lobby the right way, they do the right things, they say the right stuff, they can guide these conversations so that they don't have to really stop doing anything. Um, which is sad and it's fucked up. But these things are a mess. I know I've heard a lot of activists chiming in and saying like, look, these things are not worth it. You guys are just going around and patting each other on the back and giving each other tuggers and saying, oh, we're doing a good job. See you next year. But where's the results? Where are the changes? Like we look around us and we just see more and more problems. We see no one actually making any strides to stop the use of fossil fuels, any kind of changes, and we make the excuse of like, well, oh, there's a war going on, and I mean, hey, there is a war going on. Shit, we cover it every goddamn week. That's real as fuck. But you just see that all these places just kind of wind up leaning on their own ways, their own ways, their old ways that make money that get the job done. And we'll see what the future holds, I guess. But like I said, bring us to the other half. British Egyptian Allah Abed El Fattah. He's been on hunger strike for months, and he had stopped drinking water when COP27 began. And his lawyer was denied access. They had said, hey, we're going to at least allow you that, so that way you can talk to your lawyer. The lawyer got there, and they said you can't come in. So that's fucked up. Also, it's not mentioned in this article. It might be mentioned in the timeline. But I got this from the BBC, at least the podcast, that he was on this hunger strike, refusing food, refusing water, and they did a medical intervention and forced him to eat, more or less. I'm not sure if it was actually eating or if they just like injected him with something. I don't think they really came out with any details on that, but it's just, that's sad because it's one of those things where that's the only control you have in these kind of situations. And also, he was imprisoned because he retweeted and was talking about torture and like issues going on in Egypt, and they just came for him on that alone. And he's like a known figure, a big figure, like an activist. So, I mean, all in all, this is a really sad story, hearing from the family and stuff, trying to, continue to spread awareness, keep talking about it, keep it relevant. But, I haven't seen any much change on it. I don't know if they've even, like, if Biden's talked or anything like that, because I think that was kind of the goal, was that hopefully some leader, someone would mention this at COP and make it a part of it. But, I don't know. That's more or less all I got for this episode. Don't want to keep you guys too much longer. I do have a Patreon, like I said. It's got all the little extra episodes. on there. Then let's see what else. There's Discord access, and then we also have a little shout out system. So like once a month, I shout you out. You'll be a newsie, part of the crew. Also, if you want to like say, hey, there's like a news thing I'd like you to cover and kind of spread it, I do that, or any kind of other thing you want me to plug or talk about. So that's on the menu if you like. Other than that, I got a Gmail. Let's see, IsaiahNews1 at gmail.com. And I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. I am on all that. So you can find me and say hello. Other than that, that's about it. Hopefully, I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye bye. Mwah.